What is up, guys? Bob Busker here at ThinkComputers, and we're back with another BIOS video. This time we're checking out the BIOS on the ASRock X299 Taichi, and this BIOS should be pretty much the same across all of the X299 boards from ASRock. Obviously, the skin that you see here, the gears and all that, that's for Taichi. If you have a different board, there's going to be a different skin, but the menu system should be pretty much the same. Now, when you load into the BIOS, you're actually going to be loaded into this screen. A lot of BIOSes will load you into the easy mode or whatever. This one doesn't. This loads you into the full BIOS. But if you want to go into easy mode, you can just move over here with your mouse and click here or hit F6. And we go into easy mode. Easy mode pretty much has all the settings that you're going to need to get your system up and running if you're doing like a first build or something like that. So we have information up here, and it does give us the information on which BIOS we're running, which is always good to know. It's nice and big up here, so you can go ahead and see that. We have our DRAM information, and we can enable or disable the XMP profile. So again, one of the first things you're going to want to do when you build your system is enable your XMP profile, so you can do it right here. Storage configuration just shows you all the storage devices that you do have installed, and you can enable or disable RAID, so you have that right there. We have our time up here, and then we have our CPU Easy OC. You can enable this to easily overclock your system. Just click it and it works. Down here under fan status, this shows you all of the information on your fans, the speeds that they're running, all that, and you can go into the fan settings, which we'll show you in just a second. Up here we have our CPU temperature, motherboard temperature, and CPU voltage. Again, nice and big, so you can kind of read everything. And then boot priority. So if we had more than one drive installed, we could just easily I don't even know if it will let me. It won't let me because I don't have more than one installed, but you could easily drag your different drives to set your boot priority. So again, if you want to boot from a flash drive first, you're installing Windows, you can go ahead and do that all right there. Super easy to do. And then over here we have tools. So if you just click this, it brings up your tools, and you have instant flash, which allows you to flash from a USB flash drive. So if you want to flash your BIOS, download to a flash drive, put it in, and then run instant flash. You have internet flash, so if you want to flash to the latest BIOS that's available on the internet, and your system's connected to the internet, you can go ahead and do that. And then in fantastic tuning, you can go ahead and set your curves for your fans. All of the headers have this available to do, so you can you can set all fans to something, or you could individually set each one the way that you want right here. And there's different modes. There's silent, standard performance, and full speed. So really easy, and it's nice that you can do all of this without even having to install Windows or anything like that. You can just have it running before you get that all set up. So we'll get out of that, and then of course, for all of us overclockers and people you want to really dive down deep, we have our advanced mode here. So on the main screen, again, more information and all of that. We do have a my favorite menu right here. I don't have anything put in here, but you can easily add stuff to this menu. So if you have a setting that you're always constantly changing, and it's like a few menus down, what's easy is you just put it in my favorites, and it's just right in here. You don't have to dive through a couple menus to find it. Super easy to do, and it just makes tuning your system and going into the BIOS much easier if you have some settings there. OC Tweaker, this is everything that you're going to need to overclock, or the menu where you're going to have everything you need to overclock your system. So optimize CPU setting, they have built-in overclocks. So we have a i9 7900X, and these are the four overclocks that are built into the BIOS. So we have 4.2, 4.4, 4.6, and 4.8. And of course you can try these, and if they don't work, they might not work. It all depends, but those are built in to the BIOS. And one thing that's nice, before we get into everything else, is that we have our targets up here. So if you're messing around with your your ratios and things like that, you're not sure what target, what am I hitting, what am I shooting for, it's gonna be right up here, so you can easily see it. So again, if we go into CPU configuration, this is everything again to do with overclocking your CPU. And if we just change something real quick, we'll set our ratio to all cores, and you can see it's set on 33. So if I change it to 40, you can see up top our targets change. So that's really nice to have. Everything else in CPU configuration, again, it's everything to do with the CPU. So this includes your ratio, your BCLK, which is very important to set if you're overclocking, boost performance mode, Intel speed step, all that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff that you can set in here, all the stuff to do with your CPU, and you can also go into advanced clock gen settings, and you can set all this stuff. So you can really dive down deep in the overclocking settings. There's a lot of stuff that you can go ahead and change if you want. go out of that. Our DRAM configuration. Again, you can set your profile in here very easily. Again, we already have it set up to load a profile, and it shows your frequencies and your primary timings and all that stuff. So again, if you want to set your timings yourself, you can do it, but again, that's what the XMP profile is for. But if for some reason you want to overclock your memory, set tether timings, you can go ahead and do it all right in here. Very, very easy. Voltage configuration, again, this is everything to do with your voltage. Now, one thing I would like to stress, if you're overclocking in i9 or higher, you might want to put your input voltage down lower. This will allow you to still have that nice overclock, but your system won't be fed as much power. Usually 1.8, 1.9 is much better than the default 2.1, and it seems that most motherboards, at least the 3 X299 boards that I've seen, by default, their fixed voltage, their fixed input voltage is at 2.1 for some reason. You can easily get away with 1.8 or 1.9 and have a better overclock that's more stable as far as temperatures go. So that's something to keep in mind there. But again, this is all of your voltages. So everything here with your different voltages you can set. And then your fiber configuration. This is, again, all of your different voltages, your CPU power phases, and all that kind of stuff. So all that stuff right in here. Again, so that's pretty much everything with the OC, excuse me, with the OC tweaker menu. This is, again, where most people, I feel, will be at. This is where you're going to do all of your overclocking and tuning. And what's nice is you have 5 profiles that you can save or load. So maybe you have like a crazy overclocking profile, you might have a gaming profile. You can save or load those very easily right in here. So you'll have all of that. In advanced, this is everything, again, to do with everything that's on the board. So if you go to CPU, this is a lot of the same stuff, but this is hyper-threading. This is all your C states. You might want to turn those off if you're overclocking. Thermal throttling, you also might want to turn that off if you're doing some kind of crazy overclock, and you kind of want to see how far you can take your CPU. We've turned that off before, and we've gone over 100 degrees, which is pretty crazy with these i9s, but that's, what you have to do. So all the stuff that has to do with the CPU is right in here. Chipset configuration, again, this is everything to do with the chipset. So like your Ethernet controllers, your HD audio, your WAN radio, you can turn on different things. Everything to do with the chipset is right in here. Storage configuration, again, this is all of your storage devices. There are 10 SATA ports on this, so that's quite a lot. So you can set all that stuff up, and you can enable, disable, SATA mode selection, all that kind of stuff that you want to do with SATA stuff. Thunderbolt, we can enable or disable. It's disabled by default because it needs the add-in card to use. So I don't know if it automatically turns on if you do have the add-in card installed. I assumed it would, but not sure. Super IO, not much there. ACPI, not a whole lot there, but USB power on it, all that kind of stuff. And USB configuration, you can set up legacy USB support and all that stuff, and you can enable or disable ports, which is kind of nice. If for some reason you need to disable a port, you can go ahead and do that. And trusted computing, security device support. So if you want to put in like the TPM stuff, you can go ahead and do that. And we'll go over to tools. RGB LED is built into the BIOS like most RGB software. We can go in here, and it's on RGB header 2, but we should be able to select the chipset heatsink that's here. But you can easily select which thing you want to change, the style you want, the speed, and the color. So it's really easy to do right in there. Get out of that. UEFI text service that allows you to email tech support. As you can see, you can easily email tech support. This is great if for some reason you cannot get into you can't get into your system and you only have one system at home, but you want to get in touch with customer support for some reason. This is a way to do it through your system. As long as you're connected to the internet, you should be able to do it. Easy RAID installer, this is for setting up RAID. Instant flash, again, as we said, internet flash, secure backup, and network configuration. And you can set the network configuration. So if your internet setting is something different than DHCP, which most people, I don't think it would be, but if it is, you can set it to PPPoE. if you want, so you have internet so you can send that email, or you can download your BIOS and all that kind of stuff. Hardware monitor, of course, that is showing us everything that's going on with our system. So CPU temperature, motherboard temperature, all that kind of stuff is just all right in here. And we have the same fan tuning utility in here. I just set it to auto tune. I don't want to do that. Let's see if I can stop it. I might have to wait for this to go through. So we'll have to wait here. But this is basically auto tuning your fans, so it will run the fans, speed them up, and kind of pick the best tuning for your fans. So we'll wait for this to go through. All right, so fan tuning is done, and it took about probably about like 3 minutes or something like that. And this just kind of shows you what it did and everything like that. We only have our CPU fan connected, so that's kind of what it did. So we have all of that, and the fantastic tuning. That's what I wanted to go into, and that is the same thing I showed you earlier. Allows you to set your fan curves and everything like that. And again, you can set up your fan settings and all that kind of stuff, and temperature limits and everything that you might want to do there. And then under security, you can set a supervisor password, user password, and then Intel platform trust technology, you can enable or disable that as well. Under boot, this allows you to set your boot priorities and everything like that. One thing that I didn't find in here, which I was kind of bummed that I didn't find, was the boot override. A lot of motherboards have a boot override, so this is really great if you're installing Windows from a flash drive. The first time you want the system to boot, you have it boot from that flash drive, and then when the system reboots, it won't boot from that flash drive again, so you don't have to worry about taking it out, right away. A lot of people just walk away when they're doing Windows installs. I do it, and that's not in this. It's so weird because I thought it would either be here or it would be over in exit, and it's not. So you have save changes, discard changes, load defaults, all that kind of stuff, but we don't have the boot override. So that's something that I felt was missing in here. We'll go back over to easy mode and kind of finish this up. So again, I really do like the easy mode. I was actually surprised at this easy mode. It's not like flashy and as like an Asus or Gigabyte BIOS or something like that. It has everything that you need. Again, setting XMP profile, setting RAID mode, setting your fan settings, setting boot priority. Like, those are the things that you're gonna need when you first turn on your system. And you can even go into tools and update your BIOS if you need to do that before you install Windows. All that stuff right here in the easy mode. But this BIOS in general is really easy to navigate. A lot of people say that this BIOS is a little dated, and I feel it is kind of dated, but everything's in the right place. It's easy to find, it's not laggy, and it just works. And that's the thing about this Taichi board. It's like, it gives you all the great features at a low cost, and it just works. And that's what this BIOS is too. It just works. It's really, really good, and everything's easy to find. So if you have any questions about this BIOS, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Until next time, catch you guys later.